panel is ready. Hatem Dhiab's with us, managing partner, Gerber Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management, and Olivier Blanchard is with us, research director at Futurum Group. Thank you both for being with us. Hatem, I'll start with Tesla. Where do we stand? Obviously, we've had some recalls that we talked about yesterday. The Cybertruck 2 million orders. Pre-orders are ready to go. I don't know, I think about a little less than 50% actually happen, but what are your thoughts on Tesla?
Hey, Nicole, good to be on. Tesla, I think everyone is talking about this recall, but ultimately it's just an update. I think we need to change the way that we think about these recalls. They just have to do over-the-air updates. So when you're parked and you have Wi-Fi, you'll be able to just get a new upgrade to your Tesla, and that's it. So I think the reality is that people don't understand how these things work. The Cybertruck, it's just starting to come out. I live in LA, and we're starting to see some of those in the road. People are excited about it, but it's also more of a niche product. I don't think they're going to be making a lot of these anytime soon.
Olivier, your thoughts? I mean, let's turn to Ford at this moment. The F-150 Lightning, in fact, we saw that Ford is cutting production by about a half because they're just not seeing the EV demand that they had hoped. What are your thoughts on some of the other players?
The F-150 Lightning was always going to be a tough sell initially because it's a very different market from, a lot of other EVs. It's a utility truck. People need to be able to depend on it as opposed to just drive around and get to work. So one of the issues with the F-150 is cultural, another one is practical, and the infrastructure hasn't necessarily been there for those specific types of utility vehicles. And actually that's something that Ford is addressing with this partnership with Xcel Energy, which they announced, I think, last week. So they're going to be building infrastructure specifically for businesses to be able to transition to utility EVs. By providing the charging infrastructure to the businesses directly. So the power utility, Xcel Energy, is going to essentially front the cost of those installations in 8 states over the next few years. And Ford Pro, which is kind of like the commercial arm of Ford, is going to be providing the charging stations and the software. And I think that's the kind of innovation that we need to drive sales of certain types of EVs in the market that have been a little bit slow compared to other ones. So I think we'll see some of that from the other players as well. But that's the right move, I think, to turn things around.
All right, and I want to hear which names you do like, Olivier. Just hold on one second. Hatem, we saw an interesting piece of news about Rivian getting those orders from AT&T for a fleet. Is that something great for Rivian? Do you see more coming? Good news coming for Rivian?
Absolutely. Remember, Rivian is the biggest shareholder. Rivian is Amazon, so there is definitely a lot of great opportunity there from a fleet standpoint. Where if Rivian is able to provide these millions of trucks that these companies potentially will need, I think that would be very, 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 very good. The problem is still the same, though. None of these EV companies can ramp up or can make these cars at the scale they need to, except for Tesla. So I think the biggest challenge going forward is really how can they really make them, and can they make them fast enough at the right cost?
Yeah. Which names are your favorite right now in the group? Quickly, Hatem.
We always like Tesla, despite what's going on with slowdown and demand, or at least the price changes and so forth. I think that's really the biggest winner here. I think everyone is looking at these. I don't know if you saw last month the IRA or the U.S. government has changed some of the qualification for the 7,500 credit towards the IRA. Some of the Tesla cars are not going to qualify for the full $7,500 credit. So I think everyone is worried about that, and what are the new guidelines going to mean? It's a problem for Ford, it's a problem for the battery manufacturers. But ultimately, I think Tesla is still our biggest name.
Yeah, Olivier, what names are you liking the best these days? Either what they're providing, their innovation, the growth that you are seeing?
Well, I hate to agree with my colleague here, but Tesla is still number one. I have issues with Tesla People have issues with Tesla, but it has the most capacity. Everybody's trying to catch up. But I will note, though, that there's a lot of pressure, especially in Europe, from Chinese manufacturers, Chinese OEMs. I'm really interested in the partnership between Geely and NIO that was announced a few weeks ago, and their market differentiator is they're providing not only rechargeable batteries, just like every other EV, but replaceable batteries. And so batteries as a service is kind of a novel approach to the charging that I think could threaten Tesla, especially in Europe, as they start building out some of this infrastructure in Nordic states, especially, but spreading to the rest of Europe, like Germany and the Netherlands, where essentially you roll in and you switch out your battery, and it only takes 5 minutes. Which also adds longevity to the life cycle of the vehicle, which is a better choice for investments. So I'd be looking not necessarily in the U.S. yet, but globally at Chinese automakers essentially putting a dent into Tesla's market share, which, by the way, has been shrinking pretty progressively. I think last year we're at like 60+% of EV market share in the U.S., and now Tesla's down to 50. So there's definitely pressure from other automakers as a group.
Hatem Dhiab, Gerber, Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management, Olivier Blanchard of Futurum Group. Thank you both. Good to see you.